Okay, so I'm sure that most of you know by now that I take great pride in my grift trade. However, in this trade, gossip bitchery, I think you have to have a degree of humility and self-awareness and a sense of humour. Stuff that I've got by the shit ton. Too many people are out there selling themselves as experts in this or that, and it's stupid. Let's take a look at this clip from GB News and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Doing battle on this now. Broadcaster, supporter of Harry and Meghan, Nina Mishkov, and the socialite and royal expert, Lady Victoria Harvey.
Royal expert and socialite.
Shit, I bet you could suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
No, actually, you've got it wrong, Danny. She's on our side.
How about no?
I don't have a side. Shut up!
So, Lady V, what does this suggest? That people are like, oh, God, I'm going to have to give this a go, but they have no interest in actually taking the book with them? Because apparently it's dumped more than any other book in the world. So.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the big news story. That's the big scoop on GB News today, that Spare, Harry's memoir, is the most dumped book in the world now. The people keep finding it in hotel rooms all over the place.
How many of us feel battered?
Because people just keep leaving it there or whatever. And that's why they needed to get a royal expert in, this Lady Victoria Twattington, whatever her name is. They brought her in to discuss the topic because she can obviously, she can bring her scalpel and dissect the story intricately, right? You might as well get some Colombian maid from a Melia hotel in Mallorca to discuss it. And we're heading over live now to Magaluf with Jacinta, who hopefully can give us the insider knowledge about this situation. Jacinta, tell us, how many copies have you found of Harry's memoir whilst changing the beds over there in the hotels?
Yeah, I mean, look, it had a lot of sales, but it's the highest dump book as well. I think, people were just sick of hearing about him complaining and whining and just being so spoiled. But also, look, they might have read it and then they might have got halfway through and just decided they're dumping it because they just don't want to carry it back.
I feel like they may be clutching at straws.
Simpson scandal update. Homer sleeps nude in an oxygen tent, which he believes gives him sexual powers.
Right? So wherever they live, they've just left it for the next person.
Nina, this was quite telling, wasn't it?
No, absolutely not. You're misinterpreting this. I mean, if you're lying around a pool and you see all these other copies being read, you know you're reading the book of the summer.
You've got yours right there.
I've got mine.
Oh, you've got it with you.
So you never dumped it?
No, of course. Why? Well, I didn't read it on holiday. I don't take hardbacks on holiday.
What are we doing here?
The reason for that in Victoria, because you probably go in private jets, but if you
not-
go on
not for a
EasyJet,
while
if you go on
recently.
EasyJet or Ryanair or any or TUI or any of the ones you go to, your hand luggage
This is heavy.
is 10 kilos.
Yeah.
This is over 1.5 pounds.
Right.
You're not going to take a
Okay.
hardback.
Okay, but-
so if you do make the effort, you buy it at the airport so that it's not part of your luggage. You take it.
And so
there,
you think it's a
read
planned
it.
thing? Okay, but look, there's a broader point here.
Yeah.
I fucking hope so. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Lady V, which is that things just don't seem to be working out.
Look, I think their luck is just running out at this point, and people are just seeing through him and them as a couple, and they don't want to be part of it anymore.
The thing is,
Don't you think?
you're talking about, you want to broaden out, but we are talking about the book. The book is currently at number 8 in the New York Times bestseller list. It's been there for 27 weeks. If you go on the Amazon website, bestsellers of the year.
Or maybe
number 1 is Spare. If you look,
But maybe they're just realising they just don't need to buy more copies because copies are everywhere, right, already.
When I get...
Anyway, in the interview, she goes on to talk about how Harry and Meghan have been banned from a social club in Montecito because they were attracting the paps and that they set up photos. But she doesn't give any evidence. It's all just bloody hearsay. And I'm getting sick of it, frankly. These people bore me to death. So I'm going to show you why people shouldn't be abandoning Spare at the side of pools, at pool sides, if you will, in Magaluf and so on and so forth. They shouldn't be. However, in a way, maybe they should. It's a bit like the Gideon's Bible Bunch, you know, spreading the word of God. They're doing God's work because more people need to read Spare. It is insanely good. And what I'm going to look at today is part 3 of Harry's fabulous memoir, chapter 7. And it is absolutely packed to the rafters with animal references. And that's why I chose this chapter today. I thought it was lovely, and hence the thumbnail. Hence, right? Hence. Do you like it when people say hence and thus and ergo? Chapter 7. I woke just before dawn, unzipped the tent quietly and tiptoed out. The stillness of the Botswana morning, I watched a flock of pygmy geese fly upriver. Pygmy geese. I don't know why. I love it when he talks about animals. It just makes him sound retarded. I don't know why. He's just saying stuff like pygmy geese, and I can't play him saying it because they copyright my videos. You know, I get copyright claimed, and it's annoying. So, you know, I watched a flock of pygmy geese fly upriver. Watched Impala and Lekwe having their morning drinks at the water's edge. Wow. Plural. They're Impala and Lekwe. 2 types of antelope. The lucky sausage. The bird song was incredible. Why would anyone get bored reading this? I guess, to me, it might be because I've listened to the audiobook and I can imagine his thick, droning voice reading it. So I've got that in my head the whole time, and it's funnier when you hear him talking about Lekwe and Impala and pygmy geese. I don't know what it is. I love it. I love it, as is evident, right? As the sun came up, I gave thanks for this day and then walked down to the main camp for a piece of toast. When I returned, I found Meg stretched out on a yoga mat beside the river. Warrior pose. Downward dog. Yeah, damn right. Downward dog. Child's pose. As if he knows the names of these poses. This is clearly the ghostwriter telling him, say that. It kind of sounds, it's almost like alliteration. You say pose, 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 and it sounds good. Warrior pose. Downward dog. Child's pose. It just works. It's poetic. It's brilliant. When she finished, I announced, breakfast is served. Ugh.
You're a posh spaz.
I don't know why. I have always cringed when I hear people say stuff that gets said on television and stuff. I don't know what it is. Cliches. Breakfast is served, my love. What the fuck is that? Don't say that unironically. God, it's horrible. I can't bear it. Okay. Well, anyway. We ate under an acacia tree. I don't know what it is about these details when he names the kinds of trees. Like in my previous video, the banyan tree where he buried his dead child, apparently. So this is an acacia tree. We ate under an acacia tree, and she asked excitedly what the plan was. Oh, the plan is insane. I don't know if this happened or not. I have surprises, he said. Just listen to this insanely privileged mental shit that they do. Beginning with a morning drive, we hopped into Mike's old doorless truck, went barreling into the bush. I bet you did. Hey. Sun on our cheeks, wind in our hair. Cliches every fucking where. Sun on our cheeks, wind in our hair. We cruised through streams, bounced over hills, flushed lions out of the deep grass. They're just driving into lions in the bloody Serengeti. What the hell's going on, Harry? I thought you were there to protect the flora and fauna of Africa. They're frightening the living daylights out of those poor lions. Of course they're not, because this probably didn't happen. But whatever. Flushed lions out of deep grass. Lions, more animals. I'm loving this. They flushed the lions out of the deep grass. Thanks for making such a racket last night, boys. He apostrophizes to the lions. So, flush the lions out of the deep grass. Thanks for making such a racket last night, boys. What is going on? Oh, why would you ever leave this in your hotel room? For Jacinta to find. We came upon a large group of giraffes grazing the treetops, their eyelashes like rakes. Like rakes. Oh, that's lovely. That simile there. What is not to love? Giraffes, leckways and impalas, two types of antelope. Wonderful. They nodded good morning. No, they didn't, Harry. What are you talking about? The giraffes nodded good morning. Their eyelashes like rakes. They nodded good morning. What? Is he permanently high? What is going on? So the giraffes saluted Harry, like the seals. Okay. Is this another opera? Not everyone was so friendly. Strolling by a vast watering hole, we saw a cloud of dust just up ahead. A grumpy warthog confronted us. You're in a jeep? What do you mean it confronted you? What the hell's... Okay, alright, okay. Don't get so excited. I am excited because there's warthogs, there's impalas, leckway, nodding giraffes, lions getting the shit scared out of them by them barreling through the bushes. I haven't been this excited since the seal opera. A grumpy warthog confronted us. He retreated when we stood our ground. In your car! We drove directly at him. He didn't stand a fucking chance. Okay, more animals. This is amazing. Hippos also snorted belligerently. Hippos snorted belligerently. I bet they weren't the only things snorting belligerently, were they, Harold? We waved, retreated, jumped back into the truck. Oh, so they were on foot now. I guess I missed that. That went over my head. I'm getting too excited. I know. I need to concentrate. We interrupted a pack of wild dogs trying to filch a dead buffalo from two lionesses. Oh my God! It wasn't going well. We left them to it. As opposed to what, you mad bastard? We left them to it. Yeah, best leave the wild dogs and the lionesses to the dead buffalo. This is... Why would anyone insult this book? How would anyone not be having the time of their life reading this? It's sensational. The grass was golden, swaying in the wind. Dry season, I said to Meg. Have you noticed it's the dry season? It's not, torrential rains and flash floods, while we're walking through the Serengeti. But Meg knows all this. She's 43% Nigerian, isn't she? It's in her bones. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. The air was warm, clean, a joy to breathe. I don't know why it makes me laugh so much. A joy to breathe. Oh, Lord. We broke out a picnic lunch. Washed it down with a couple of Savannah ciders. I wonder what that means. I wonder what that's a euphemism for. Savannah ciders, golden showers. No, you're disgusting, Danny. You make yourself sick. Afterwards, we went for a swim in an estuary off the river. That sounds incredibly dangerous. Can you swim in estuaries when there's hippos and wild dogs, lions, leckways and impalas? I don't know. We went for a swim in an estuary off the river, keeping our distance from the crocs. Keeping your distance from the crocs? How can you keep your distance from the crocs? They're not just there, obvious. Like, it's not like there's a big pool and a kid's pool. I guess I've never been there, so I don't know. But can you avoid the crocs that easily? I mean, the impalas and lekways often don't get lucky. They go for a little sip and they're all looking around themselves timidly all the time. And there's loads of them warning them if there's a croc about to come. How can a human who's never been exposed to any of that just go for a swim in an estuary thinking the crocs won't get them up? I don't know. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong, and it's perfectly safe to swim in the rivers in Botswana, just if you keep away from the crocs. You know, give them a wide berth, all right, the crocs. Yeah. Oh, he says that here, actually. He says, keeping a distance from the crocs, stay away from the dark water. Is that a saying you have in Botswana? Is there anybody from Botswana watching this? Can you hear me, Botswana? I told her this was the cleanest, purest water in the world because it was filtered by all the papyrus. It kills me. And I know I'm repeating myself, but every time he says a plant, a specific plant like papyrus or lekwe and impala animals, it just gets me. I don't know why. It was filtered by all the papyrus. Even sweeter than the water at the ancient bath at Balmoral. Though, better not to think of Balmoral. Yeah, better not think of the fucking castle you were brought up in, you bitch. Anyway, the anniversary was only weeks away. The anniversary of what? Your mother's death, I guess. Was it? Yeah, of course it was. Of course it was. Everything's an anniversary. At dusk, we lay across the bonnet of the truck, watching the sky. When the bats came out, when the bats came out, we went to find Tej and Mike. We turned on music, laughed and talked and sang and ate dinner again around the fire. Meg told us a bit about her life, about growing up in Los Angeles, about her struggles to become an actress. Struggles, eh? Her entanglements. I'm sorry, I shouldn't. I'm not sorry, actually. I don't know if I'm sorry. Get through it, eh, Danny? Get on with it. Her struggles to become an actress, doing quick changes between auditions in her rundown SUV, on which the doors didn't always work. She was forced to get in through the boots. Forced to get in through the boot? Have I heard this somewhere else? Was this Meghan who said that, or somebody else who talked about having a rundown car that they had to get into through the boot? I guess it could happen to more than one person, but I've heard that story before somewhere. Don't get bogged down in the details, it's all bollocks. She talked about her growing portfolio as an entrepreneur. CEO entrepreneur! Born in when was she born? 1984? No, much before then. How old is she now? Nobody knows. 1978. Meghan Markle. Anyway. Her growing portfolio as an entrepreneur, her lifestyle website, which had tens of thousands of readers. All right. Yeah, she tried her hand at gossip bitchery, didn't work out. Oh well. In her free time, she did philanthropic work. She was especially fierce about women's issues. She's not. She's especially bland about everything. That's the thing. It's like if she was really passionate about it, she's kind of very non-controversial in everything she says, isn't she? Uncontroversial. What's the word, English teacher? I was fascinated. Fascinated. God, she sounds like the most boring, basic bitch person in the world. Fascinated. I was fascinated, hanging on her every word, while in the background I heard the faint drum beat. The faint drum beat. She's perfect. She's perfect. She's perfect. It actually says that 3 times. Chelsea and Cress often mentioned my Jekyll and Hyde existence. Jekyll and Hyde? Harry, Jekyll and Hyde. happy Spike in Botswana, tightly wound Prince in London. Jekyll and Hyde. Have you read Jekyll and Hyde? He goes out and murders people at night. It's not Jekyll and Hyde. You're not Jekyll and Hyde. What are you? You're Anton Deck. You're Dick and Dom. Dick and Dom. Dick and Dickhead. Oh, God, you're losing it, Danny. I'd never been able to synthesise the two, and it bothered them. It bothered me. But this woman, I thought, with this woman, I could do it. Yeah. I could be happy Spike all the time. Yeah, that's worked out, hasn't it? You've been happy all this time. That's good. Imagine if he was unhappy. You know? Then he'd feel battered. Except she didn't call me Spike. By now, Meg had taken to calling me Haz. She could call you what you want, you little bitch. What she wants. This is why I edit. My brain doesn't work very well. She could call you what you want because you are her... All right, yeah, you get the point, don't you? You all understand me by now. Every moment of that week was a revelation and a blessing. And yet every moment also dragged us closer to the wrenching minute which we'd have to say goodbye. There was no way around it. Meg had to get back. I had to fly to the capital, Gaborone, to meet with the president of Botswana to discuss conservation issues. God, yeah, what an absolute horror of a life. She had to get back to her acting career, and you had to meet the president of Botswana to talk about how... conservation issues? How about don't drive at the warthogs in your Jeep? Leave the bloody warthogs alone, eh? Stop barreling into the bushes and frightening the living daylights out of the lions. To discuss conservation issues, after which I was embarking on a three-phase lads trip, months in the planning. There would be prostitutes, and more prostitutes. I would cancel, I told Meg, but my mates would never forgive me. I had to pay for the prostitutes after all. I put that. He doesn't say that, by the way. I'm guessing that that's what it mainly involved, as it was a three-phase lads tour. Lads on tour, eh? What are they like? We said goodbye. Meg began to cry. Now, I really took issue with this bit. Why? She's in her mid-30s. She's been in one marriage, possibly two already. You're in your mid-30s. Would you really begin to cry? Or was it one of those, left eye go, whatever the thing was? She said that she can make herself cry. Well, you wouldn't cry. Surely you wouldn't cry in your mid-30s. I'm sure you can fall in love at any age, right? But aren't we over the phase of crying? Because, you've got to go back and work. It's like, I don't think if I was to be, God forbid, separated now and on my own, if I met a girl, imagine, however great she was, I can't imagine myself or her. I think she was emotionally unstable. If we're on holiday in Botswana, it's like, well, it's a shame we've got to go back to I've got to go meet the president of Botswana, and you've got to go back on set and work on your pretty successful series that you're on. And she started crying. I find that weird. I don't like it when people can't control their emotions to, particularly the crying one. It makes me uncomfortable. But that's just me. When will I see you again? Soon. Not soon enough? No, not nearly. Tej put an arm around her and promised to take good care of her until her flight, several hours away. Then one last kiss and a wave. Mike and I jumped into his white cruiser and headed to Morn Airport, where we climbed into his small prop plane, though it broke my heart. And though it broke my heart, flew away. Flew away like the pygmy geese, upriver. I'm losing my Harry voice and everything. I've made it to the end of the chapter, though. Wasn't it a wonderful one? Yeah, it was. Jesus. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll see you in the next one.